Hello, beautiful people. Samson Williams here from Milkway Economy and also Bright.us investment crowdfunding done Bright. So Milkway Economy is the lead investor into Bright.us. And as such, we do a lot of research into the crowdfunding industry in general. So I was going to share a little epiphany with you because often we're talking bad about VCs, not that they don't deserve it, but at the end of the day, it turns out crowdfunding doesn't actually crowdfunding does not disrupt venture capital nearly as much as it supports or helps venture capital. And I'll explain to you why by sharing my screen. So here we have a crowdfunding, here we have a capital formation triangle. The more money that goes into this capital formation triangle is based upon who's doing it. So first you've got angels. So everyone knows angels. Why they're called angels is a mystery to me. They want the same 10,000% ROI as just a regular as a VC, but you know, they claim the name, so God bless them. Angels. Next, you have VCs, our venture capitals. So VCs are cool. They're colloquially known as sharks. Why you want to get funding or money from a shark is beyond me, but they really want you to come into the water because they say it feels magnificent. And above them, you have private equity, and then you have hedge funds. We're just going to abbreviate them to private equity, PE, and hedge funds. Then after that, when you're going to raise billions of dollars, things get a little bit weird because this pyramid actually gets inverted a little bit, because at the top of the pyramid, when you go to raise the most money, this is through your IPO or your initial public offering. Why this is important? Because it's not just angels, VCs and private equity hedge funds that are in IPOs. It's also the public. That's why it's called an IPO, and this is the public. So the public actually make IPOs valuable. Why this is so important? Because when it comes to crowdfunding, particularly Jobs Act, we should probably write this down. Let's write this down right quick over here. Jobs Act, investment crowdfunding, and we're talking about Reg CF, Reg A plus. Let's put that on the plus. So this is what we're talking about. So why is the public so important in this sphere? Well, it's here at the bottom of this triangle, and why investment crowdfunding is so important, because here you have crowdfunding. Why this is so important is because, and again, we should clarify, because I'm often talking trash about the angels and the VCs, or rather stating the truth about them, but crowdfunding ultimately doesn't compete with angels and VCs. The reason crowdfunding doesn't compete with angel and VCs is because that the businesses who are here, who are engaging in crowdfunding, the angels, the VCs, the hedge funds, the private equity, they weren't going to touch those businesses anyhow. So these businesses are typically looking to raise somewhere between 25,000 and 250K. Last year in 2020, the average raise was $263,000. The average investment was $653, and you can find this by following Woody Neese, who crowdfunding capital. They produce some amazing results. I'll drop their link down below. Amazing reports. I'll drop their link down below. So where crowdfunding is actually beneficial to the entire triangle of capital formation is that it's an entry point to businesses that angels, VCs, et cetera, they were never going to touch before. But now, because of crowdfunding, particularly given the new limits in Reg CF, you can raise up to $5 million. And in Reg A Plus, you can raise up to $75 million. It's inspiring these Main Street businesses to actually attempt to raise funds to scale, to grow. And the difference is why 20,000 people on your cap table is a beautiful thing. Let's write that out right quick. Oh, that's not a 20, that's an S. Okay, there we go. So 20,000 people on your cap table is a beautiful thing. And so the reason that is the case is because these guys, the public in IPOs, they're the same folks who are investing here. The only difference is the public, those retail investors have more money than VCs. Retail investors have more money than VCs because retail investors are also your customers of those private businesses that are crowdfunding. And customers have more money than venture capitals. Customers even have more money than banks because in theory, banks have their customers' money. But I digress a little bit. So you have the public who participate in IPOs, initial public offerings. You also have the public, we should write that down, that they're called retail investors. So retail investors who are also participating in crowdfunding deals. And so that's why 20,000 people on your cap table, 20,000 investors, not just people, they're called investors, 20,000 investors. That's a beautiful thing. So 20,000 investors on your cap table is a beautiful thing, particularly when you're only looking to raise, I don't know, $250,000. You actually can't have 20,000 people on your cap table when you're only raising $250,000. It's just not enough room because last year, again, the average investment was around $653. So 20,000 investors on your cap table is the beautiful thing because whether you're engaged in crowdfunding via Reg CF and Reg A, you're going to be able to engage the public. Where that is so key later, if you do need to raise more than $75 million, let's write it. If you do need to raise more than $75 million later, and you do go to engage with VCs or private equity so that you can, quote unquote, go public, do you know what happens if you're going to go public? If you're going to go public with 20,000 investors on your cap table? That's right. So when you go public with 20,000, when you go public with 20,000 investors already on your cap table, that means that, hey, they invested early. Guess what's going to happen when you go public? They're each going to tell 5 people. Now all of a sudden you have 100,000 people engaging in your initial public offering. That's amazing. That's great. That's phenomenal. And that brings us back to here. I know we've got a little bit of a squirrely mess right at the moment, but that brings us back to here and why crowdfunding here, it doesn't really compete with angels, VCs, private equity. The only thing it does is it adds more people to the funnel so that eventually more small businesses who initially only raise that first $250,000 may eventually go public if that's in the right business plan for them. So I just wanted to express that. I'm often saying that crowdfunding is going to fundamentally disrupt venture capital. It's not entirely true. What crowdfunding does fundamentally disrupt is capital formation as a whole. It not only brings in more businesses, it also brings in more investors. We're going to talk about that in our next video because it turns out, you know what? 20,000 people, 20,000 investors on your cap table is a beautiful thing. And when your minimum investment is $100, $200, you have more investors. And what that really means is that venture capitalists are super excited because there's a whole new class of investors who are coming into the investor space through regulated Jobs Act crowdfunding. So I'm going to talk about that in our next video. Thanks for watching this. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below. In the meantime, check out bright.us investment crowdfunding done Bright. And if you have any questions or comments, also drop them down below. We'll make a video for it. Till then, peace.